Thank you for staying. This afternoon, scores of commuters are left stranded for hours under the scorching sun, battling endless queues and soaring transport fares as the crippling shortage of commercial vehicles brings the city's daily rhythm to a grinding halt, disrupting work, trade and school routines. My colleague Fatal Bayaga has been on the ground engaging some commuters at La Paz.
Have you been here, and how difficult is it for you to get a vehicle to your destination?
I've been here maybe 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay. But has this, or is this a situation that has always been happening, or is this today?
Oh, it's always happening.
It's always happening?
Yes, it's always happening.
Okay, so where are you traveling to?
Kisiman.
Kisiman?
Yes, please.
Okay. So mostly when you come here, you struggle to get vehicles?
Yes, always struggle.
Good morning, thank you very much. Where are you traveling to?
I'm going to Kisiman.
Kisiman. How long have you been here?
About roughly 7 minutes.
About
7 minutes.
7 minutes, okay. But how difficult is it every morning traveling to Kisiman?
Very difficult because coming from Ablekuma, already you don't get a car and you stay in traffic for like 2 hours. Then you get here on a normal day, there's a very long queue here. You stay in a queue for about 30 minutes at least before you get a car and you get to work. So roughly you spend about 3-4 hours before you get to work every day. And at night too is the same issue. Yeah, so it's very difficult.
And we hear that sometimes they charge unapproved fares. When it gets to the evening, for instance, the fares become very expensive. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge because every evening, if you are going back to Ablekuma from La Paz, it's supposed to be 6 cedis, but then the cars will come and they'll tell you they are charging 10 cedis.
10 cedis?
Yeah, 10 cedis, and you have no option because you also want to get home. If you don't go for that, you stay in town till the next morning. So it's quite a bit of a challenge. It raises transportation costs.
And even though vehicles are not coming, the queue is still a bit long. This morning here at the La Paz Thermal Station, it's been a very difficult situation. But let me try and speak with the station master as well to get to appreciate this particular situation. Let me talk to you briefly about this particular challenge. So some of the commuters tell me that every day when they come here, they struggle to get vehicles. What is the challenge for you?
Oh, in the morning, it's a rush hour because when it's a rush hour, everybody have to go work early. But in the afternoon, we have a lot of cars working here, so we don't have challenges in the afternoon. But in the morning, we have challenges, and even when they close from work, that one too, they have the challenges at that point. So that's the reason.
But we're told that sometimes you decide to create artificial shortage, so you don't allow your vehicles to come into the station so that you can charge unapproved fares. Is that the situation?
Oh, that one is not true. We can't do that. You can't do that here. When they do that in the outside or on the road, here you can't do that. When a car go, they used to come. So we have a lot of cars working here day in and day out. So we don't have.
Meanwhile, some members of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union are calling for the removal of the Transport Minister, Bukari Nikpe, accusing him of poor management of the transport sector in Accra and other major cities. Second Deputy Public Relations Officer of the union, David Agboado, spoke with Fatal Bayaga.
The government has to sit up and analyze the situation and let us all solve it amicably. But if I will say something right now, I will say the Minister of Transport supposed not to be at post again.
You want the minister sacked?
That is what I'm saying.
The transport minister must go.
The transport minister must go. The reason why the transport minister must go is this. He is not performing. He is not performing in his ministry. Why am I saying this? When you go to Gold Board, the CEO over there is performing well. We are all giving him credit. When you go to finance sector, Honorable Setekpe is performing well. When you go to Atuforsen is performing well. When you go to Bank of Ghana, the governor over there is performing well. When you go to MPA, fuel was 17 cities, now 10 cities and 11 cities. Is it not performing well? So what is the transport minister doing at his office? What is he doing?
He further attributed the transport challenges to a reduction in the number of operational vehicles, explaining that many drivers are unable to afford spare parts despite the relative stability of the city, as traders have refused to reduce prices.
He's saying we are creating artificial shortage. What artificial shortage are we creating? The problem is that about 45 to 50% of the vehicles are in shops because of the high cost of a spare parts. Sprinter bus, you can see, sprinter bus is what we use over here. A back axle of a sprinter bus is now costing, it was 55,000. But as I'm speaking to you, it's 7,500 or 8,000. And you are saying you have reduced spare parts. A steer rack of the same sprinter that I'm talking of, it was 1,800, but now 2,500. And you say you have reduced spare parts. What spare parts have you reduced? When they say they have reduced spare parts, I will not dispute that, because a tie formerly was sold at 1,000 cedis, is now sold at 750. It has been reduced. But the parts that are very costly are the engine, spare part, the engine, the back axle, the front axle, the steer rack, and those things. And our cars are even of age. Our cars that we are using for commercial purposes are over age. Once the cars are over age, it has its consequences. That's why even at 5 years over there, they ship it to us for us to use. And how much more we that are using this car is 2012. See, the registration is 2012. Still working till now.
Well, there are indications that the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is considering the introduction of electric buses as part of efforts to ease passenger congestion in the city and improve urban transport. Now, to shed more light on this, we're joined via Zoom by Alex Johnson, head of the Transport Department at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, we understand the AMA is preparing to roll out electric buses. Can you tell us more about this initiative?
For having me on your session. This initiative by the Mayor of Accra I think it started some time back, and it's a long-standing, let me say, strategy of the Assembly in its transport medium-term plan to improve mobility in Accra. I think within the last few months, the Mayor had been very active in engaging bilateral agencies to see the potential for, let me say, bringing in investment to support electrification of mass transit. I think the Mayor's strategy specifically looks at the low-hanging fruits that we have in our medium-term development plan to have multiple benefits when you use electric vehicles as mass transportation options. First, because of the reduced emissions, it improves clean health, which means that people can breathe, let me say, cleaner air. The strategy is to look at the pilot routes in Accra, where we have a lot of population density and demand, and also a lot of activities by the roadside. So Makola, for instance, fits the kind of profile that we are looking at. And so we have some selected, let me say, routes between Carnation, Circle, and possibly even Medina, for instance, to look at how we can encourage the existing unions to enroll on a potential investment program. Mind you, this program is going to be packaged in a way that you have, let me say, a transitioning from the local fleets that we have, which are, of course, very old and the quality is low.
I just want a bit of clarity on this investment you're talking about. So, first of all, who gets to drive this electric bus and how it will directly reduce the congestion in the city? When will it start? I would need this particular details. Okay, so who is the unions, the existing unions? So I mentioned that we would have to be looking at a potential pilot program and select a route where we have an existing union already running their operations. And the operation is expected to be scaled from, let me say, minimal to, and then almost taking up the whole fleet renewal program for a union that could be, let me say, potentially involved in such a program. Do we have the buses yet?
We are looking, pardon me.
Do we have the buses yet?
Okay, so I indicated that we have a discussion for the investment to be first laid out, and that is the active engagement that the mayor has with the bilateral agencies who are also interested in green transport in Accra.
Okay, so it's not that you have a set of bus that you're going to be piloting with first before you invite investors. Even for the pilot that you're envisaging, you're yet to invite investors to start the pilot. Is this what I hear you say?
Okay, so let me explain how this works. This is a very brown field for EV operations. And I'm talking about, if you look at our current fleet of operations, most of them are diesel vehicles. So before you move into electrification, you have to have a very strong investment plan to make sure that once there is a business model that fits our local operations, especially looking also at the fact that you need to build the capacity of the existing system that we have, especially in terms of installing infrastructure that are correctly placed in policy regulation. If you have EV charging ports, how would operators assess these along the specific routes that are going to be operated? So these are very critical issues that must be addressed first. Okay. But we are looking within a time space of about 2.5 years.
Oh, right.
The first year for all the planning, the second year for engaging the business model and also piloting, and then potentially the next few months after that to follow with full-scale operations. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining the news today. Some communities across Ghana continue to grapple with severe water challenges disrupting daily life and livelihoods. At Baatsonaa East, along the Spinks Road in Accra, residents say enduring water scarcity for more than a year has taken a heavy toll, particularly worsening household finances as they struggle to secure water for basic needs. And my colleague Noella Yali visited the area earlier and spoke with some residents about how the situation is affecting them.
To engage further is school that is also in the community. Months ago when I visited, they also complained bitterly. So, I mean, months ago we were here, yes, and we told a story about the water shortage crisis here in the area. That's right. I reached out to officials at the Ghana Water Company asking for answers. They acknowledged the situation and mentioned that they had issued a number of initiatives to improve water supply in the area. Have they improved the water situation here?
Nothing, the same, is the same. Water has not run through our pipes to our tanks here. It's the same old story. So if they are saying something, then I don't know where that improvement is happening. But in our area here, I've not seen anything like that. Rather, the water we have been buying, they have even increased the amount.
How much was it? How much is it now?
400, now 700.
Now 700. In fact, last three days, they came to check the meter. So I asked them, what are you checking? What are you checking for? What 1 year?
When you say they, who are they?
You know, the water company people.
Okay.
So I asked them, what are you checking here? For 1 year, no water. So what are you checking? And when I asked, they told me that the condition is beyond their reach. They cannot handle it. So if they are saying that they are doing something, they told 3 days today, they said it's out of their control. They can't do anything about it. But this is serious here. Because when you don't get water, your system, your kidneys and things can run down. So for 1 year, and 1 year no water, that is more serious. So I think if the MP or something, it should go to the president. The president of this nation must come in and help us. The work that I'm doing here is serious. I have 6 boys. I pick them living in kiosks. And their school fees is 700. They are paying only 300. 6 boys. So if there's something that God has laid on my heart to do, and I can't get my government supporting me, that is serious. That is serious. So I've gone on the air there, and I've told the president that please, we beg him, he should come and help us. He should come and help us. Because if we are living on the Spinks, and they say first-class citizens, and we can't get water, what is become of the villager? So please, this is more serious than what we think. And I think the president must come in to solve this issue for us.
A very passionate Mr. Haji, co-founder of the Daniels Classic School, speaking there. But I've also heard that there's some sort of skin-related diseases, the water shortage.
Typhoid. Right. A lot of, even I myself, before I traveled to the UK, I had typhoid. Because of the water, we don't know where the source, we are buying, we don't know the source. So that's why I'm very serious here. I'm very, very serious, and I'm going to broadcast it everywhere.
But I mean, you have complained. It's been myself. I have noticed how months on, you still haven't gotten the situation fixed. In the interim, as community members, what are some of the things? Have you thought about any solutions as to how, to come together to fix the problem?
Yeah, some of them are doing the borehole, but it's salty. It's salty, and it needs a lot of chemicals. And sometimes they told me that they can't even go. They are not sure of the source of the chemicals. So they are not using it. It may be for flushing of toilet, but it's not something you can use for anything.
At a passionate appeal by residents in the Baatsonaa area. Well, the Auditor General has cracked down on what it describes as massive financial losses under the Agenda 111 hospital program, surcharging 35 contractors and demanding the recovery of $7.9 million in mobilization funds paid out with little to no show on the ground. The audit service found that although the state disbursed $16 million to contractors working on 19 hospital sites, actual work executed amounted to just $5.96 million, leaving millions of dollars effectively unaccounted for. Here is a graphic representation of the figures the Auditor General has been presenting to us. So for the surcharge, the contractors, as we told you, 35 of them. And then it also gives us a total amount that if these 35 contractors, pay back would make $7.9 million. That's how much we're expected to receive by the state. And here are some of the reasons why the Auditor General is surcharging these contractors. Failure of some of the contractors to move to the site, because when you're provided with mobilization funds, it enables you and it helps you to go on the ground to start your project. Others as well executed less than 10% of the value of payments received. That's out of the mobilization funds that the government provided for these contractors. Just 10% of work has been done. Now, the sites that have been affected between 2021 to 2024 is 19. That is just a general breakdown of what the Auditor General has been saying. Now, reacting to the reports by the Auditor General, anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu urged the audit service to consistently conduct surcharge in a move to provide the publicity on the consequences to public workers.
I think that if the disallowance and surcharge is done consistently, what it will be is that you have a situation where people know if resources are spent, and there's a review that shows that the justification was not properly sought, or the funds were misapplied, you now have the situation where, first of all, the money spent will be allowed, which means it must be paid back to coffers. But not just that, if they suspect any intentionality, they surcharge you, which means you are paying over and above what has to be returned. And that's punitive. I think that if this is given a lot of publicity, public officers understand the ramifications of taking such action. The volumes of money being spent unjustifiably, and these kinds of actions will reduce over time.
Now, Education Minister Haruna Disu has given a strict directive to teachers and stakeholders of the educational sector to desist from expanding the definition of gender beyond the binary male and female sex. This directive comes at the back of raging public uproar over the controversial definition in the SHS2 Physical Education Teacher Manual, which has since been recalled. We'll hear from the minister shortly, but first, listen to the Director General of NACA, Professor Samuel Ofori-Bekwai, first revealed that investigations have revealed who inserted the definition into the manual. He spoke on PM Express last night.
We have spoken with some of them, those who wrote the manual. Who are they?
I think in my explanation,
who are they?
And then,
when you say they, who are they?
I don't want to mention names here. We spoke with some of them, and they were also involved in the writing of the curriculum. It's not like those who wrote the manuals are different from those who wrote the curriculum.
Okay, so are they Ghanaians?
They are Ghanaians.
So they wrote this definition in the manual?
Exactly so.
I see. So
and we spoke to them, and then they tried to give reasons why they did that. But we felt that no, the reason wasn't, because if the reason they were indicating was so, then they should have provided more than one definition.
So there was no foreign influence at all in the...
No. Well, I don't know whether those people were influenced, but it's not a foreign person that put that in there. It was Ghanaians. Those who wrote it were Ghanaians.
Now, Professor Bukari has also apologized for the mishap, as he says an exclusive audit has been triggered into all manuals and curriculum issued in 2024.
One, reviewing our verification and validation process to ensure that this is okay again. We are also even thinking about what we are going to do a review KG to TSET, how we even do the empaneling of the writing or the review team. We are reviewing that. I've also just this afternoon directed that even all the other materials developed for the SHS, including the curriculum and the learner materials, should be comprehensively reviewed. Fortunately, they are in digital format, so doing that review is going to be easy. And the review has started to ensure that any such language that are identified are immediately addressed. When you take over a place, you take over the assets and liabilities. On that note, I have no difficulty on behalf of the organization apologizing to the public for whatever transpired. But as I said, we are taking strong measures to ensure that these things do not occur.
Okay.
We can also hear from the Institute of Education Study as it's called for improved funding for NACA to curb foreign influence on Ghana's educational content. Dr. Peter Nte is Executive Director of iFirst.
It tells us that there is some sort of inefficiency within that agency. It tells us that there might be resource deprivation issues within the agency, and because of that, they are not able to undertake their mandate as they are supposed to. It also brings to the question, how are they funded and how our curriculum development processes are funded? So that if we know all these questions, then we will know that are there external interests in our curriculum development process, because we know that one of the easiest way to infiltrate a culture is through the education system, and the education system actually sits on the curriculum. So if people are able to infiltrate the education system through the curriculum development, then they are able to touch our society, and that the gateway, the gatekeepers of this is NACA, and they should not be under-resourced. They should not be getting funding from sources that are not supposed to get funding from, so that when they develop materials for our kids in the school, there will be materials that reflect the aspirations of the people in the country.
Well, you can listen to the directive of the Education Minister, Haruna Dusu, to all teachers on the matter.
Regarding the definition of a man as in a man, a woman as in a woman, as in biological sex. And sex means biological sex. Reference to man, woman, sex means reference to the biological sex and the sex of a person at birth. Settled. So in every educational literature in Ghana must reflect state. So there should be no ambiguity whatsoever in the definition of a man, a woman, and sex. For our purposes, the sex of a person at birth holds. That depicts and reflects Ghanaian values and our norms. And that is how we want to bring up all Ghanaian learners in an environment that they appreciate, that the morality of our society rests in the extent to which they uphold these values. So I thought that I should use your forum to respond appropriately to this. And we have accordingly corrected it. So reference to a man, woman, and sex is reference to a biological sex. So forward every publication of the Ministry of Education and the GES and to all heads of institutions involved in the educational space must respect this natural definition of sex and natural definition of a man and a woman. Nothing more. I thank you all.
Now, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has conducted a night operation against illegal mining activities along the Ankobra River at Eyem Dwabo in the Amenfi Central District of the Western Region. The operation carried out on Wednesday followed intelligence on severe pollution of the river caused by upstream illegal mining. 7 suspected illegal miners were arrested, including 2 juveniles. 9 water pumping machines, mining equipment, charms, and mobile phones were seized. Makeshift structures at the sites were dismantled and equipment destroyed to prevent a return to the illegal activities. The suspects have been handed over to the Eyem Dwabo police for investigations, whilst the seized pumping machines have been moved to the NIMOS headquarters in Accra. NIMOS says it will intensify intelligence-led operations to protect Ghana's water bodies and forest reserves. Now, the NDC chairman Johnson Esirinkete's tour of gratitude across the Bono East region quickly shifted from celebration to sober appeals as traditional leaders in Atebubu, Iyeji, and Prang seized the moment to highlight urgent and met needs from acute water shortages to dilapidated roads, testing the balance between political thanks and public expectations. And Asabit is more.
From Kajiji to Kwame Danso, Atebubu to Yeji, and finally Prime, the one of this tour was a marathon of gratitude. But in the courtyards of the chiefs and in the town squares, the message from the people was clear. We stood with you, now stand with us.
Regional Minister, okay, now I
the concerns were specific and widespread. Atibubu and Prime appealed for portable water. Yeji pleaded for better roads to move goods and people. The asks were a direct reminder of the social contract between the voted for and the voters. Emmanuel Buam is a member of parliament for Pro East.
When we assumed office, we have been able to solve these armed robbery issues. As I speak to you, there's always a 24-hour surveillance on our road. Unfortunately for us, the road network is yet to be tackled, and this is much more of the concerns of our people.
The Yabaye, Yejina Bibiso, and Mubekasai, and a Mosomote Asie. And yesterday vote to know. Mosomoni da Bibiso said, the Yaka say Yabaye no. More than vote to no Maya, yes, Yabaye.
A former Chief Executive Officer of the Swami Municipal Assembly, Maxwell Ofosubuachi, has taken a swipe at the former Administrator of the District Assembly Common Fund, Irene Natoshe Adu, alleging her contribution to the New Patriotic Party's laws in 2024. Now, rejecting claims by some opponents that the party's 2024 presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia, was the cause of the party's overwhelming defeat. Mr. Ofosubuachi claimed the former administrator's approach in disbursing the funds made the party unpopular, contributing to their loss in the last elections. According to him, Natoshe Adu, a member of the Canada-Japan camp, mismanaged the release of the Common Fund to the Assembly, describing it as erratic and meager. He spoke with David Akwete on Love FM. in Kumasi.
Some of us felt Honorable Natoshi shouldn't have opened herself up for criticisms, because if we are talking about those who contributed to our loss, she's one of them. By doing what? By doing what? By that erratic releases of common fund. That was one. Number two, the meager releases that was coming to us. You know why? You have carpenters in Swami who come to you and ask you for petty jobs to be handled. You know, there are certain jobs that by our status, by our rules, we can do it direct through the works department, like furniture, for instance, for the drawer desk for schools. If they bring it all the way from Accra to you, and the carpenter in your community comes to you knocking at your door or just wanting to have something small, would that make the party attractive in the constituency or the municipality? All these things were given to us or were sent to us. You get it? Assuming I award contracts at my end, I can suggest to the contractor that, I have these artisans. The person is a welder, probably a tiler, a carpenter. Can you pick one or two? There are certain contractors, I don't even know them. I don't get to see them throughout the execution of the project. The work was done all right. But we are talking of elections here, like he's saying. They did cost us. Yes, it did.
You're watching News Today. Please stay for business update.
Welcome back to business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. Private sector contributions to SNIT pension scheme have hit a record high. Data from the Bank of Ghana shows the total now stands at 527 million cedis, signaling a positive trend in business activity. There is more in this report.
A careful look at the data showed that over the past years, contributions have been picking up strongly. In January 2023, it stood under just 300 million Ghana cedis. It has, however, been going up to reach this new level, which can be described as the highest over the past 3 years. Again, the total number of private sector persons contributing to the scheme has also been going up significantly over the past 3 years to reach more than 11,000. For a lot of industry persons, it is not just about the contributions going up, but the signals that it will be sending about the state of the private sector. Contributions going up could be described as the private sector recovery. This is because businesses need to be doing well to meet the obligations to the State Pension Trust SNIT when it comes to their contribution. Based on this data, we could also project that businesses have started picking up after years of some challenging times, which resulted in some shutting down their operations, while some moved to lay off some of their workers. Recent data from managers of the SNIT scheme have highlighted the contributions of the private sector that has aided in the sustainability of the scheme going forward. The development has also revealed that businesses have picked up strongly when it comes to employment.
Now, away from that, after years of implementation, the United Nations World Food Programme is transforming Ghana's school feeding program with the introduction and supply of fortified rice to both public and private schools across the country. There is more in this report.
Available data shows that both local and imported rice grains on Ghana's local market are low in essential nutrients like minerals and vitamins after undergoing rigorous milling processes and heat extrusion. These polished rice grains are found to be denying the public of needed essential nutrients for body development. The World Food Programme's Rice Fortification Project aims to address micronutrient deficiencies, boost school enrollment and attendance, and enhance academic performance in underserved communities. Through the initiative, the World Food Programme procured and delivered 4 rice fortification equipment valued at $80,000 to 4 millers across 4 regions. Franco Food Processing and Farms at Ejuso is one of the 4 millers in the country selected to produce locally fortified rice. Solomon Osei-Safo is the production manager.
Thin layer of rich nutrients film around the rice grain. Now, this is what we take away to make the rice look white. And then by so doing, we actually depriving the consumer nutrients that are required for the body. Because of the stereotyping for white rice, we end up taking away that important part of the rice and then storing them to give to poultry, to give to cattle as feed. But these are the most important part of the rice, or the most nutritious part of the rice, that should be benefiting the human being.
The bags of rice are distributed to schools through the caterers in basic schools and through the National Food Buffer Stock Company for the senior high schools.
We are expecting the next contract, which is probably about 45,000 or 50 kg rice to supply to the senior schools. So I think the World Food Program in Ghana, as at now, they are doing, and so I'm glad that you guys are here.
The Ajesu Senior High Technical School in the Ashanti region is one of the schools benefiting under the program. Reverend Emmanuel Ado is the Ashanti Regional Coordinator for the School Health Education Program.
Yeah, actually, our students were eating polished rice. Actually, it's good, but not all that good for their health, because some of the nutrients have been taken away from the polished rice. So the WFP came in support by introducing parboiled unpolished rice, which contains a lot of nutrients in the rice. So for humans' life, there's supposed to be something that will help the body and the person as well.
The World Food Program is now conducting a cost-benefit analysis to guide a potential nationwide scale-up of fortified rice consumption in schools under Ghana's school feeding program, with the aim of making it a staple for students across the country. For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
That's all for business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is sports.